Hi there, I'm Peggy Farah. I'm a psychotherapist based in the Seattle area and the founder of deepercravings.com. And I want to talk to you today about an aspect of relationships that I've come to believe firmly is one of the two central building blocks to a healthy relationship. And I'm learning this both through my personal relationships and also through all of the relationships I see through my private practice, the couples I work with and the individuals I work with and how they're impacted by their relationships. And it's the principle of empathy. What I see over and over again is people who are in relationships with others who really aren't able, for whatever reason, to hold a space for empathy. For some people, either they are too self-involved or too unhealthy themselves to be able to leave their own experience enough to really join with another and sit in another's experience. And that is devastating. It is devastating when the closest people who are meant to love us and be with us can't empathize with us. Because when that's not possible, when they're not really able to leave themselves long enough to sit with us and our experience, there's such a hunger for that. Because what that means is they can't see us. When somebody is with us and they're really able to empathize with us, what they're saying is, I see you. I'm willing to sit in your world, enter into your world. They're really able to hold that space for compassion. You feel compassion. And the word compassion comes from the Latin words that mean co-suffering, passion, as in suffering, like the passion of the Christ. I think that's so beautiful, that concept of co-suffering. I suffer along with you. I hear your story. I enter into your world. I see you and I see your experience. And in seeing that, it causes me to feel suffering. Because we share, what's universal between us is we share the human experience. Something that is undeniable is that all of us, no matter how different we are, all walks of life, we all have experienced the entire range of emotions. We all know what it's like to be sad. We all know what it's like to feel inadequate. We all know what it's like to feel joyous. We all know what it's like to feel sorrow. So because we can relate to those emotions, we can develop the capacity to sit in empathy. Just all of us haven't necessarily had that experience ourselves or have really learned that skill. But it's so important, and what I see more and more is the hunger that can come when we are with loved ones who just don't offer that to us, particularly when that's a parent and you're a child, whether you're an adolescent, the adolescents I work with, or a grown child of a parent who, for whatever reason, is just so self-involved or else didn't get those skills, and they just can't see your needs, can't see your pain. So what I want to say is that if that's you, if you're in a situation where either your romantic relationship or somebody close to you in your family or close friends are, maybe they have shades of a personality disorder, or maybe they have abusive tendencies or take actions that feel manipulative and that they're trying to hurt. And at the very least, if they're just, somebody who just is pretty self-involved and can't sit with you, I want you to just know that it's okay to acknowledge that that's really painful. It's okay to acknowledge that you crave that. And I really encourage you to get support with that, whether that is finding friends who are healthy enough to really give you empathy, or finding a therapist you can work with, or connecting, whether it be through YouTube videos or books, with other people who are in that situation. People who are in love relationships or in families with somebody who is very self-absorbed or unable to have empathy. So it's important that you get support for that. And it's important for all of us to remember just how important that is, because we've maybe been on the receiving end of what it's like when somebody can just sit with our pain, when they really just listen. And you can usually tell by somebody's eyes if they're getting it, if they feel your pain. And it's a wonderful experience to be witnessed. I think we all crave that, just to be witnessed. So we've all been on the receiving end of empathy, and it's wonderful. And many of us, and I know for me, I have, and I think many of us have been on the receiving end when we're with somebody and it's like, yeah, they're not seeing us. They're not seeing our situation. They're wrapped up in their own agenda. And we also, I think most of us have been in a place for whatever reason where we couldn't empathize, where maybe we were not being present enough, or we were wrapped up in our own agenda, or somebody was sharing something painful and we flipped to an experience in our life that was painful. And maybe we didn't sit with them long enough. We just went right into telling a story about how, oh yeah, well that happened to me too. And then that just leaves that other person feeling hollow. So it's really important that we remember that when somebody's sharing something difficult, that we just leave ourselves enough to be with them, enter in with them. It's especially important and especially difficult to do this when maybe they're sharing something sensitive. Maybe if it's even about us. Maybe they're bringing a concern or a pain to us that has to do with something about our relationship with them. It's really hard to be empathetic then. It's really hard to hold ourselves steady enough to just be curious, listen, sit with them, try to understand, try to imagine what it was like. How would that feel? I mean, it really comes down to the very simple but incredible wisdom of the golden rule. Just think of, how would that feel? And how would I want to be treated? Or, what would that be like if that were me? And when we do that, we're really able to then connect with those very basic human emotions, which allow us to connect with one another. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and I wish you well. Come visit me on deepercravings.com.